actually share my screen too and just pop through a few slides if that's cool. Okay, I guess clock starts now. Thank you so much for putting this together, everyone. Usually it's funny. I think there's the competition to be most sexy, so I like this. It's the competition to be the most unsexy. And let's see, we're combining several very unsexy pieces of a key process here, which starts with business formation. And what I'm going to do today is actually run through, I think, as Nick said, something which many people don't realize is possible, which is from any country in the world, or I'll put a little caveat there, from most countries in the world, you can actually open up a US LLC and get a business bank account remotely and handle your US taxes. So I'm actually going to walk through that process, demystify some of the top myths, and answer some of the most commonly asked questions around what's the best state to form in, how do you do your taxes, etc. And at the end of the day, or maybe the beginning of the day, what Doula does is we're providing access to American entrepreneurship. And what that means is whether you want to sell to US customers, whether you'd like to establish your business hub in the United States, or whether you'd like to turn your dream business or take that dream idea and turn it into your dream business, that's what we help founders do. And it's been quite a ride so far. Just a little bit of context on us. We started the business about 2 years ago. Over the last 2 years, we've been blessed to raise just under $12 million of venture capital from some of the top investors globally, including Y Combinator, Dharmesh Shah, who's the CTO of HubSpot. And the reason why we have thousands of customers globally who really believe in us and investors who see the same is when we started our company, this was the reality of the situation. As a founder, you know you need to start a business, whether it's to get a bank account for liability protection, for social proof with customers. But the truth is there are over 10 discrete steps, and there are well more than 10 steps that founders have to go through in order to get their business off the ground. And you might be familiar with some of these logos or some of these steps: forming a company, getting a registered agent, talking to the IRS to get a tax number, setting up a bank account, getting your payment processor. As we've heard some of the other folks today, things like bookkeeping, handling sales tax, tax consultations, ongoing support, etc. And very quickly, we had this idea of, wait a second, does this have to be the case? What if we could use technology to automate this process and create this business in a box? And that's been our goal, is a founder clicks a button and these things are now compiled and taken care of together. And that doesn't mean that Doula does everything. For things we can't do, we like to partner with best-in-class companies like the companies you're listening to today and provide truly this best-in-class solution so that founders can focus on what they do best while Doula handles the rest. That is our cheesy tagline or slogan that rhymes. And at the end of the day, what we've built is this really all-in-one platform where you have to only talk to one person or one company doula. And what we'll do is compliantly form your company, get you a US bank account, set up your payment processor, handle your registered agent, get you a virtual mailing address, and then handle or help with your tax filings on a year-over-year basis. What I'll do now is actually just provide you with some information on maybe some of the top questions customers ask and what this process actually looks like. So if you're going to do this process on your own, it's actually a 4-step process, but there's over 10 discrete steps. The first thing is you actually have to form your company. And the way that's done today is you typically go to the state's website, which is a website that looks like it was formed in the 1990s, I guess before there was the internet. So it's a very archaic website. It's not fun to go through, but if you can work your way through that, great. You submit your docs, you wait a few weeks to get your company back. After that, you then have to apply to the IRS to get what's called an EIN. An EIN is an acronym for an acronym. It stands for Employee Identification Number, which is a form called Form SS4. So let's say you navigate those forms, you submit this to the IRS, and you get your tax number. That can take 2 to 6 weeks if you don't have US social. After that, you now need to set up a US business bank account. And at this step, most people actually don't even realize it's possible. But let's say you know it's possible. Most banks, get this or not, actually won't support founders who don't have a social, but there are a few who do. So you have to navigate that maze, figure out which bank supports you, compliantly apply. And once that's applied and successfully accepted, the final step is boom, you can set up a payment processor so you can accept payments globally. So what we've created is essentially this click button solution to handle these steps. There are certain things Doula does in-house, and then there are certain partners we use. But again, the goal is a founder like yourself shouldn't have to worry about the nitty-gritty. You should worry and you should care that the process is done correctly, because a lot of these are irreversible. They have to be done correctly and have to be done correct the first time. Now, let me run through some of the most common questions we get. The first is, should I form an LLC or a C Corp? Maybe you've heard these before, and I'll answer it actually right here. There is a clear answer. An LLC, a limited liability company, is great if you are looking for tax flexibility and it's an easier structure to maintain. But the way I actually explain this is, think of just a simple decision tree. If you are raising US venture capital, form a C Corp. Why? Because it's required by US investors. If you are not raising US venture capital, an LLC is 99 times out of 100 the best choice. Much more flexible, easier to maintain, cheaper to set up, and cheaper to maintain as well. So again, if someone ever asks you, now you can quiz people on this, should I form an LLC or a C Corp? If you're raising venture capital, go C Corp. If you're not, oftentimes an LLC will be the best choice. Now, another major question we get is, what state should I form my company in? So here we have some more benefits of LLCs versus C Corps, and I'm happy to share this deck after. But another major question is, what state? Now, the two most popular states to form an LLC in are Wyoming and Delaware. The way I would answer this question, though, is if you live outside the US, you can actually form an LLC in any state. Which state's the best? Wyoming is actually one of the most popular because it's cheaper than Delaware, although Delaware is the most popular state in the US for entity formation. So let's take another decision tree. If you live outside the US, you can choose any state. Most popular states, typically Wyoming, actually, because it's cheaper. But hey, if having a Delaware company and the prestige of that helps you sell to your customers, you can go with Delaware. If you live inside the United States, Doula supports US residents, the best state to form your LLC in is the state you actually live in. And this is a mistake many founders make. The mistake they make is that, oh, they think I should just form in Delaware. I've heard Delaware is a good state. But let's say you live in Texas and you form an LLC in Delaware. You then have to end up paying fees in both states. You're paying for a registered agent and you're paying state fees in Texas and in Delaware. So that's one thing I would advise to many founders is typically start in the state you do business in, which is the state you live in, and you can always register to do business in other states. Okay, so that's literally the two most common questions we get, but now let's jump into the good stuff. How are we different? How much does this thing cost to do? Using technology, we've been able to automate and streamline a process which lawyers typically charge several hundreds of dollars per hour to do, if not thousands of dollars per hour. So for $197 plus state fees, which differ by state, we can form your US company, get you a registered agent, a virtual mailing address, and help you set up a business bank account. On top of that, there are partners/offerings we have in-house to help you compliantly handle your state filings and your IRS filings too. In addition to that, you have access to what we call the Doula dashboard. And the way you should think about this is think of it as the cockpit or the operating system for your business. Anything for your business, whether it's your legal documents, access to your bank account, perks and rewards, is available in one place. You have full peace of mind that anything for your business is taken care of in one place. You can also access your bank account from right there too. So Doula actually has our own banking offering. And the reason why we built this is because we wanted to be able to provide a much more streamlined way or option for founders to set up a bank account. So now with Doula, all in one go, you get a company, a tax number, and a bank account so that you can immediately start accepting payments in the US dollar or connect to Amazon, whatever it might be. With banking specifically, two things I want to really touch on. One, yes, you can open a US business bank account even if you're not in the United States. However, you will see that there are certain countries that are restricted. Doula does not create this restricted list. This is done on a federal level in the United States. Now, this could change in the future, but these are the only countries you can see here. We have an up-to-date list on our website where you cannot open a business bank account. Second thing is that Doula opens an FDIC insured account. So the bank we're using in the back end, it's FDIC insured. So your money is safe there as well. The other big thing I'll just highlight is there are lots of banking options out there, but Doula is truly one of the only banks that'll actually open an account for a non-US resident and will do it remotely too. There are certain banks out there which will still require you to fly to the United States and walk into a branch to open an account. And that's completely fine. But hey, flying to the United States can be expensive, especially with COVID. That's been tough to do as well. So we want to make it as easy as possible. Literally, founders have said setting up a company and opening up a bank account was as easy as, ordering pizza from Domino's or, I guess ordering Starbucks from the Starbucks app, whatever it might be. It really is that easy. The other thing is we have great partners for other parts of the stack. Let's say you want to set up a Stripe account to accept payments via card, via Google Pay, etc. You can do that. Or maybe you'd actually like to apply to start to open business credit in the US too. We have a partner named Divi that can do that as well. And for everything else that we can't do in-house, we have an expansive perks and rewards network with tools like Pilot, tools like ChartMogul for your SaaS software, tools like Amazon for AWS credits. Essentially, anything you might need when building out your business, we want best-in-class partners to help you do that. You can see some of the other communities we work with here. Upeka is an accelerator in India. On Deck is a community for founders getting started. So our goal is, again, to be plugged into the top communities and networks. A couple final slides I'll just show in terms of our offering. Really what it comes down to is we kept noticing, and we heard this from founders, that they were tired of just forming a company and being thrown to the wolves with a checklist of things to do. So on the top, you can see these 3 discrete boxes. You can, pay a one-time formation option to form a company, and then sure, you can do your research on how to do taxes. And then for ongoing support, there's a lot of migraine-inducing info on Google. And that's literally a quote we heard from customers, which I loved. So what we decided is, hey, if we can bundle these things together, we give a customer peace of mind, and we can actually streamline things to bring costs down. 2 key things, again, that we do is we want to provide support to founders outside the US. Certain alternatives don't do that. And again, we want to provide that long-term partnership. So at the end of the day, you're able to start with us for a very low one-time fee. And in the future, or even right away, if you need help with your tax filings or things like that, Doula has a subscription which can help. The final thing I'll end with is that we truly are blessed. And the most important thing we don't take for granted is customer reviews and customer love. And we really have customers in over 150 different unique countries who have loved our offering. So the thing we're most proud of, and you can check out our Trustpilot page, is, again, not serving as this one-time partner who sort of helps and leaves you out to go fend for yourself, but really being there for a long-term solution to help you with this irreversible part of the journey. And just seeing these reviews come in is really the most valuable part of our offering. So again, don't take my word for it. You can actually hear from customers around the world in terms of what we've been able to do. And the final thing I'll end with is we're happy to help founders anywhere. It doesn't matter where you are in the journey, even if you actually have an existing US company. If what you heard today sounds exciting, hey, you want peace of mind, you can actually migrate to Doula too, and we can handle things on an ongoing basis. So to wrap up, we're happy to help you form from scratch. You can email us at hello@doula.com. You can also live chat us online. We have round-the-clock coverage. And again, whether you're looking to form a company or migrate, we're happy to be there, happy to answer any questions. And again, help founders around the world take that dream idea and turn it into their dream US business.